The last major of the CDL season kicks off today, and the combination of fans, land, and some awesome storylines approaching the event make this one of the best potential majors of the entire year. There are 4 teams, though, who I think really stand out as like the top 4 teams by far with the highest chance of winning this major. So we're going to talk about those 4 teams today and what exactly they have to do if they want to bring home this championship. So if you enjoyed this video, definitely smash that like button down below. Leave a comment as well with your thoughts on the favorites for the tournament and what you think they have to do to win this event. And also subscribe to the channel as well if you enjoy this kind of video and want to see more videos like this one from me in the future. I do really appreciate all of that so very much, and let's hop right into the video. It doesn't really take a genius to figure out the top 4 teams I'm talking about are, of course, FaZe, Empire, Optic, and Ultra. I think they've clearly established themselves as the best 4 teams in the league right now, and the betting markets prove that. You can see there the LA Thieves, who are the 5th best odds to win the major, are a distant 5th place. Looking at the odds, I do think I would probably have Empire a little bit closer to FaZe. I think it should sort of be like FaZe in a tier of their own, then Empire also in a tier of their own behind FaZe, and then Optic and Toronto pretty close to each other. So overall, the odds make pretty good sense in my head. These are clearly the best 4 teams right now, and they are the 4 teams with the highest chance to win this major by far. The Toronto Ultra have the worst odds of the top 4 teams to win the event, so we will start with them. So far this season, they had a top 8 finish way back in Stage 1 before they had Insight on the roster. They had that first place finish at Stage 2, and then they got 3rd both at Stage 3 and Stage 4. They're looking to get back into that top 2 and win this event ultimately. And how can they do that? The first thing I noticed is they definitely have to pick up their slaying in the hardpoints a little bit. There for a while, they're still a very good hardpoint team, but their slaying, when you compare it to the other top 4 teams, is by far the worst. Optic has a high hardpoint KD, FaZe does, and then Dallas, of course, does as well. They're 1.0 for Toronto. They're not quite positive. They're even, obviously, but it is the lowest of the top 4, so they definitely have to slay a little bit better. Of course, they make up for their slaying sometimes with sort of their ability to make the right play at the right time, but if they can do that and also slay better, they will be even a more dangerous hardpoint team than they already are. So they're still definitely a very good hardpoint team, but they can be even better if they get that slaying number up just a little bit. You know, that 1.0 is not bad, but it can definitely be better compared to the other top teams. Another thing is they're going to have to beat FaZe at some point, which they have not done for a little while. Of course, they came out, they took it to FaZe pretty good there in that Stage 2 major final, but since then they have not beat FaZe. They are 0-3 against FaZe. 2 of those did go to a Game 5, so they have shown they can still beat FaZe. They've been right there numerous times since they beat FaZe, but they have not done it yet. And I mean, it's pretty much a guarantee if you're going to get top 2 or top 1, which we're talking about here, of course, at a major, it's going to have to go through FaZe at some point. It'd be very unlikely to not even get FaZe in the grand final or at some point in the winner's bracket. So if they're going to win this tournament, they will almost certainly have to beat FaZe. They have not done it for a little while, but they definitely can, and they will have to at this one. And finally, they just have to keep their composure. We heard a little bit in that series against Dallas that we heard their communications and their control on raid. They seemed a little bit frustrated. Like, their communications have always been on the calm side. They're never like loud and screaming like some teams do. They're not a hype team, but they definitely are composed, and they keep their communication strong and calm, and everybody stays collected. They weren't, they were still kind of calm against Dallas, but you could hear the frustration in their voice most definitely, and they can't have that. They are a team who is really built on their communication and their teamwork. They obviously have the individual talent to go with that, but they are really boosted and amplify their skills with their communication. So they have to keep everything together. They can't lose their cool. They can't let the pressure get to them. They just have to play their game. They know they can beat any team on any given day, and if they do that, they keep their composure and they keep their communications on point, along with some of these other things, they will definitely be a top team with a really good chance to win the Stage 5 major. Moving on to Optic, they have not had the success of a Toronto Ultra this year. They are still looking for their first top 3 placement of the season. They have 3 4th place finishes and that top 6 finish way back at Stage 2. The first thing they will have to do with this one, without a doubt, is expand their map pool. They have, I would say, 3 hard points they're pretty comfortable on: Garrison, Checkmate, and Moscow. They have, I'd say, 3 searches as well: Moscow, Express, and Standoff, and then 2 controls, Raid, and Checkmate. So in a best of 9, you play, 4 searches, 3 hard points, 2 controls. So on search, they don't have enough maps that they're really good at to get themselves through an entire best of 9. Control, they'll be fine. Like I said, as long as they're the team coming out of the winner's bracket and they get to do the vetoes for control, they can just veto Garrison and they're good. If they're coming out of the loser's bracket, they most certainly will have to play Garrison at some point because their opponent would probably most likely ban Checkmate. And then on hardpoint, they have 3, but again, depending on the vetoes and what their opponent would veto, they would not have their best 3 maps, which they'd probably have to play either Apocalypse or Raid at some point. They haven't been terrible in Apocalypse, but not great in the Raid. They really have not played that much because when they were playing it, they weren't the best at it. So their map pool will have to expand a little bit, most definitely. They also can't afford to keep making the simple mistakes they talk about all the time. They sort of chalked up a lot of their letdowns this year to just simple mistakes that they should not be repeating. But they have repeated them, and they've repeated them every major over and over. According to them, these are not my words, they are their words. So if they're going to get better, they're going to have to remove whatever simple mistakes they keep making. They are too good of a team to let themselves down with random chokes or things that they should not be doing. And finally, they got to keep up their slaying. Their slaying in the respawns has been very good. They have a 1.14 team KD in hardpoint in stage 5. That is the best of these top 4 teams. And then a 1.15 in control. That is the second of these top teams, only behind FaZe. So if they keep slaying like that in the respawns, their search has gotten much better. Their teamwork has been great in search. If they can put all that together and definitely expand their map pool a little bit, they are most certainly a threat to win this stage 5 major. And at the very least, I think they're definitely due for their best placement of the year, which would mean at least top 3. So overall, I'm high on Optic going into this. They have a good chance to make some noise. The Dallas Empire enter this tournament as the number 1 seed from Group B, looking for their first event or their first major win of the season. They do have 2 second-place finishes. Overall, they were a very strong team in the Stage 5 group play. I think Illy has been their most noticeable improvement from the beginning of the year till now. He's been playing great. He has a 1.20 KD in hardpoint, so if he can keep that up, that's phenomenal, because Shotzzy has been great in every game mode all season long. But he did need somebody to help him pick up the slaying a little bit. Illy has been doing that so far this stage. If he can keep doing that, they can keep being a top hardpoint team, which they proved to be throughout the entire group play in Stage 5. They also have to keep their fast pace. They are the fastest paced team in hardpoints in terms of their overall engagements, and then they are like top 3 or 4 in control. So they play very fast. As we know, Vivid, he runs right down the map. Him and Shotzzy can put so much pressure on the map. Illy can play pretty fast for an AR too, so they've clearly shown they're comfortable doing that. Some teams are more effective when they play slower. That has not been Dallas. They've been at their best when they get to play fast, of course, in those respawns. So if they can keep doing that, they can keep up their success in the respawns. They were pretty good in hardpoint, and then they were very good in control in the group play in Stage 5. So keep up that fast pace. That's when they're most comfortable, and that's when they're most successful. But they will have to pick it up in S&D a little bit. I mean, they were 3-2 in search. That's not bad by any means over Stage 5, but it is tied for the worst among these top 4 teams. That mostly falls on Illy and Vivid, in my opinion. When you look at the Stage 4 major where they made that crazy run, Illy was just below a 1.0 KD and Vivid was just above a 1.0 in search. And so far in Stage 5, both of them actually have a 0.74 KD in search and destroy. So they got to play their lives a little bit better and sort of be there to help out Shotzzy and Crim, who have been playing great in search. And if those two can make it sort of like, if they can get on par with Crim and Shotzzy and they can pick up the slack just a little bit, this team can really be a good search team, because we've seen them do it so far this year, and it's a mode they should be good at. So Illy and Vivid pick it up in search, Illy keeps it going in the hard points, and the whole team keeps up their fast pace, and Dallas, without a doubt, has a very good chance to take home the championship at the Stage 5 major. Finally, there's the Atlanta FaZe, and this is a team where we don't have to play the what-if game or the what-can-they-do game, because we know what they can do. They've shown it many times this year. They have won 3 of the 4 majors so far, and the one they didn't win, they got second. So they obviously know what it takes to succeed. I don't have to tell them. I just want to see them. They just got to keep playing their game. When they're at their best and they're most comfortable, and they're playing their best Call of Duty, there's not a team who's going to beat them over the course of a best-of-9 series, in my opinion. They just can't feel the pressure, which there is no pressure for them, despite what some might say. You saw Crim6, he was saying that they're starting to feel the pressure as a top team. I don't think they're feeling pressure. I mean, they have the 1 seed locked up for chance by like 1,000,000 points, and they've already won 3 out of 4 tournaments this year, so I don't see why they would feel pressure. They've been the best team all season long. They've done it online and done it on LAN. There's really been nothing that has been able to slow them down so far. They did lose that 1 series to Optic. I think this is their first time, maybe first or second time not being a 1 seed for a major, but that really will not affect them. They've been in the grand finals, like I said, of all 4 majors. They're almost certainly going to be there again this major. One thing I do want to see them do is veto to their strengths. Their map pool is by far the widest of any team in the CDL. They can pretty much succeed on any map. You know, they don't like checkmate, but beyond that, they are just dominant on any map. So I don't want to see them trying to veto their enemies' strengths. I'd rather see them veto their own weaknesses and play their best maps, because if one of their best maps is also one of their opponent's best maps, that doesn't matter, because they're probably going to win as long as they play their best Call of Duty. So I'd rather see them try to make themselves comfortable rather than make their opponents uncomfortable. I think that's the recipe for success for this team, because like I said, when they're at their most comfortable, there's not a team beating them over a 9-game series. Their map pool is just too deep, and they are just too good at all the modes. They don't really have any weaknesses. So as long as they make themselves comfortable and put themselves in the best situations to win, there's a good chance they will win. That's why they are the most favored team by far to win this event, and that's why they've won 3 of the 4 majors so far. So play their game, play their best maps, and the Atlanta FaZe probably will have no problems taking home the championship this weekend. That is going to do it for this video. If you enjoyed, don't forget to leave a like down below and leave a comment as well with your thoughts on the video and your thoughts on these teams heading into the Stage 5 major. And also subscribe to the channel as well if you want to see more videos from me in the future. I do appreciate all of that more than you would ever know. So I hope you enjoyed the video. I hope you have a good day today. I hope you enjoy the matches later. And I'll talk to you guys in the next video.